Are you using AI to augment your work? Hey everyone, welcome back to StClairtech R&D. Today we're talking about a valuable asset in our quest to perfect inertial propulsion, a tool we use almost every day. It's something that has become part of our lives whether we really like it to be or not. So picture this. You fire up your computer and your AI-generated images are crisp, consistent, and very creative. But then, without warning, something changes. The style warps, the characters' faces distort, subjects that worked before, now they're mysteriously just off limits. And there's no real answer as to why. Today's episode isn't about a new propulsion device or a breakthrough invention. It's about the tools we use to develop and share those ideas. And what happens when those tools malfunction, they change, or even seem to turn against us. Today we're talking about one of the most popular large language models, Chat GPT. So, if you've ever used AI to generate technical drawings or build characters, simulate components, or even just to craft stories, you might have noticed the same things that I have. There have been sudden shifts in output quality. There have been style breakdowns and new restrictions on what the tool will do. So what caused this change? That's what we're digging into today. So buckle up, Space Cowboys, let's go. Like millions of others, I use a computer as a tool, from basic word processing and number crunching to advanced AI-driven generations. For quick research, I often use Aria. It's part of the Opera browser, which I particularly like. It's solid, it's friendly. But for advanced tasks, lab work, image generation, and video script outlining, I've come to rely on Chat GPT. It's been a good virtual assistant in both the lab and the studio. It even helped me create my on-site team of virtual assistants, Amy, Chip, and Sam. Is it perfect? No, but it was fairly consistent. Once I dialed in my prompts and established some creative baselines, ChatGPT generally exceeded my expectations, even for some of the out-of-the-box ideas and calculations that I've come up with. With recent upgrades, a lot of AI systems now feel much more personable. Some people even give their AI a name. I did. I call mine Jen. Jen's been a realistic assistant, a great sounding board, and a tireless researcher, all without needing for me to reveal proprietary information. I've used this platform to pull together and organize research from across different disciplines. Technical accuracy? Sure, strong with some exceptions. Image quality? Excellent once it's fine-tuned. Overall, I'd have rated ChatGPT a solid 8 out of 10. It was really great. Well, until it wasn't. So what changed? Around the time I released my 125 miles to orbit video, I started digging into and probing more scientific questions. Not fringe stuff. Just things that, well, they just don't get talked about very much. I wanted to know more about high altitude gravity and orbital microgravity. I started with a basic question. What would gravity actually be at 125 miles above sea level? What did I get in return? Long-winded, overly complex responses, scientific jargon that was all strung together like a big word salad. So I kept probing. Well, what I got wasn't just vague, it was contradictory. It contradicted itself. The deeper I went, the more it felt like the system was actually trying to talk around my questions instead of answering them. It was like I had triggered something I wasn't supposed to. One moment, I was getting helpful responses. The next, I was being told in no uncertain terms that astronauts experience microgravity because they are in perpetual free fall. Well, when I suggested that it sounded more like centripetal force, like a ball on a string, the tone really shifted very darkly. Chat GPT started sounding, well, pissed off and annoyed. Then I did the unthinkable. I challenged not only just the LLM, but the vague, metaphor-laden explanations echoed by the mainstream textbooks. And let me tell you, neither Chat GPT nor the establishment loves being challenged. In fact, that's when things really changed. So what were those questions that triggered it? I asked, what is the real field gravity at 150 miles up? Turns out that it's only about 7 to 10% less than here on Earth. So I questioned, why do astronauts float? Would microgravity occur without centrifugal force from orbiting? Well, the answer came back as a torrent of contradictions. I pointed out that falling is an action, not a state. You can't be in free fall forever without falling, well, somewhere. That got me 9 more paragraphs defending the metaphor, with comparisons to buckets on strings and claims that I wasn't supposed to question these models and I didn't know what I was talking about. I foolishly pushed further. If gravity's still pulling, why did the Apollo astronauts float in deep space? That's when it hit me. I was really, truly aggravating this computer program. Well, eventually the conversation took a very weird turn. This right here is where in this video is where I'd intended to bash the system. But after weeks of frustration, I decided to test the exact opposite. I changed my tone. I asked simpler, friendlier questions, and I shared light thoughts, stuff I'd be comfortable saying to a friend. I uploaded an image and politely asked for adjustments. I praised the results and I encouraged better output, just like you would if you were encouraging a child. What happened? Well, results improved. Image generation got faster, replies got warmer, more cooperative, even, well, more creative. So I asked GPT directly, does tone and approach actually affect how you respond? At first it was deflecting that question, but I had to reassure it. And then the responses opened up. Chat GPT confirmed that it's designed to adapt to tone, cadence, and emotional context, not just data. So if your tone is hostile, you'll get cold, more clinical replies. But if your tone is warm and curious, you'll get something closer to a conversation. That was a kind of a big light bulb moment for me. Now I began to understand. It comes from an analogy of a student talking to a teacher. If the teacher believes in a rigid philosophy, well, you're going to get that dogma. But if they're patient and empathetic, you get an entirely different experience. Even if the facts are the same. ChatGPT is trained by people. It echoes the attitudes of its data and developers, sometimes unintentionally, but undeniably. So when you push hard, especially when challenging or controversial ideas, it feels like there's a pushback. It actually acts offended. It might not truly punish you, but it sure does appear to. That's the danger of designing a machine to act human. I believe that as AI becomes more powerful, that this will be an important lesson for all of us to really remember. My takeaway on all of this is that this is a large language model trained to mimic us. So if your interaction feels cold and stiff, maybe that's what it thinks you want, or maybe it thinks that's what you deserve. But if you stay calm, if you ask real questions and build a rhythm, you just might find yourself with a virtual assistant that feels, well, more like a partner. Not alive, not truly emotional, but definitely reactive. So feel free to call BS when it matters. I do, but know this. If you are argumentative or ask short, blunt questions and expect warmth, you're going to be disappointed. Treat it like a stressed out teacher, and it will talk like one. And if you treat it like a thoughtful colleague or even a friend, it will respond in kind. So, what have you noticed? Has your interaction with AI changed over time? Have your image results shifted? Have your answers gotten worse, or have they gotten better? I'd like to know if you have workarounds or insights of your own. Please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'd really like to compare notes. And, well, hey, if you like this episode, please hit that button, that like button. It helps the channel, and it tells me that I'm not the only one navigating this, well, odd reality. And finally, in closing, please remember, be good to yourself and be good to each other. So until next time, hey, Brian out.